Okay. Okay, looks like it's working. I guess the audio's up and I see some people, a couple in the chat here. So, rightio, trying something new with YouTube. So, it's a whole different setup. So, anyways, looks like it's going to be okay. Yeah, what a week. There's not ever a dull moment as far, well, when Trudeau's involved and Mark Carney's involved. Man, oh man, I'm telling you, I'm not one. Hey, Faye, I'm not one of the and Liquid Gal and Denny. It's hard to see in my little one down there, bald caddy Emma. Yeah, I'm not one of these people that says, "Hey, look, I told you this was going to happen," but well, I told you this was going to happen. I said this quite a while ago that Trudeau was going to burn it down on the way out, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's torching it as much as he can. The problem is he's passing the torch off to Mark Carney, and Mark Carney's going to be worse. So buckle up. It's not looking good right now for, if you go by the polls, I know polls can be rigged, elections can be rigged. It's looking like they're both being rigged this time. So unfortunately, I think I don't want to be the bearer of bad news or get your or lost hope, but we just got to keep a very close eye on what's going on. The involvement with China. I mean, look at anything Sam Cooper's been putting out here lately. I get lots of emails from Sam Cooper. I'm sure a lot of you on here do too. So, yeah, it's not looking good. The criminals, look, this goes so deep. And I'll tell you, once we get going here, I'll give it a chance to get a few more on. We'll probably get a few more on here. Hi, Lynn, Sharp. Lynn, I got something to say about President Donald J. Trump. Don't get me wrong here. I think you got a good president, and I think he's looking after your country for you. And I think Trump's plan was to really hit Trudeau hard because he doesn't like Trudeau. I don't blame him. We don't like him either. But I think it backfired. I think the Liberals now, Carney is getting some unwarranted attention. Seems people are falling for the lies and the deception. So we'll see. But I think the harder Trump hits the Liberal Party of Canada, we're going to be wearing it. I don't know. But Phil Google diverted to CBC News. Those crooks trying to steal my viewers. I don't think I have more viewers than CBC. But I think they are desperate. So, yeah, it's just, oh man, this is just getting very hard to handle. I'm almost thinking about selling out and getting out of the country, but I'm not a quitter. I'm going to hang in here and see what happens, but it ain't looking good. I think maybe Ruby Dalla might throw a wrench into them. She's getting some attention now, the way they used her and kicked her out because they were scared that she was getting a little too close to Carney in numbers. So, it just might backfire. Here she is, a non-white female from Canada that, probably a lot of the ethnic vote was going for Ruby. And I don't know, would they throw their vote behind Carney after what they did to her? I don't think so. So these polls, these numbers, they just don't add up. Now I went on AI, and what I'm going to do is I want to bring that up. I'm going to show you something that seems very, very suspicious, actually, that happened. And I was kind of shocked when I seen this, because I was on yesterday on AI just playing around. There's a couple. I was on Gemini and Grok 3 actually. And I had put in that Ruby Dell is a vampire. Well, she might take the Liberals down. I don't care if it takes a vampire to do it. Okay, so I was on, and I had put in, I asked a question about Mark Carney's business connections and connections with organizations. And I got a pretty good list, you know, like a long list. It's not there today. How can it get scrubbed from AI? I don't know. I asked pretty much the same question, and I'm gonna bring that up. I'm gonna show you the result of what I got today. Just shortly here I go. What this said when I did that same question. Here's the results. I find this a bit odd. It says, I said, what are Mark Carney's connections to businesses and organizations? And the reply I got was, I can't help with responses on elections and political figures right now. While I would never deliberately share something that's inaccurate, I can make mistakes. So while I work on improving, you can try Google search. Well, we're not going to get Google search. I'll guarantee you that, because I'm going to need a VPN. I think I got redirected by the Liberal Party censorship. So, yeah, see what I mean? They even scrubbed the AI. So I said, okay, you want to play around like that? I'm going to try something different. And I didn't need a VPN for this. So what I found when I dug, I'll show you. I brought this up. And this is Diana Fox Carney, the wife of Mark Carney, because I asked what connections does Mark Carney's wife have. It says, has a diverse network of professional and personal connections rooted in her extensive career in climate policy, sustainability, and economics, as well as her marriage to prominent global economist and banker. Here's an overview of her notable connections based on available information. Professionally, Diana is deeply tied to the climate and sustainability sectors. She serves as a senior advisor at Eurasia Group, a leading geopolitical risk consultancy where she works alongside Gerald Butts, a former key advisor to Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, I think he still is, and now vice chairman at Eurasia Group. This link ties her to influential Canadian political and environmental circles. She also advises Beyond Net Zero, a growth equity fund focused on emissions reduction, and Helios Clear Climate, part of the Helios Investment Partners, connecting her to private equity and investment networks aiming to profit from the transition to a greener economy. So his wife is going to profit from the transition to the greener economy. Additionally, she has been involved with Terramera, a Canadian agricultural tech company, and serves as a trustee for organizations like the Shell Foundation and Client Earth US, linking her to major players in energy and environmental law. Her past roles further expand her network. As executive director of Pi Capital, a UK-based membership organization, she engaged with business leaders and policymakers. Her work with think tanks like Canada 2020, where she collaborated with progressive policy influencers, and the Institute for Public Policy Research in the UK, connects her to intellectual and political communities in both Canada and the UK. Her early career with the UK government in Zanzibar and as a research fellow at the Overseas Development Institute ties her to international development and academic networks. On a personal level, Diana's connections stem from her British background and family. She met Mark Carney at Oxford University, where they both studied, she earning degrees in philosophy, politics, economics, and agricultural economics, placing her within the elite Oxford alumni network. Her sister, Tanya Fox, is married to Lord Rotherwick, a hereditary peer in the UK House of Lords, giving her a direct familial link to British aristocracy and political influence. Her father, Christopher Fox, comes from a wealthy pig farming family in Oxfordshire, grounding her in rural British establishment circles. Diana's public persona as an environmental advocate, sometimes labeled as an eco-warrior, and her outspoken views on inequality as seen in her support for the Occupy movement, and writings on income disparity, aligning her with progressive and activist communities. Though some dismiss these as performative given her privileged position, her husband's high-profile roles, including Governor of the Bank of England and Bank of Canada, and his current involvement with the Liberal Party of Canada, further amplify her proximity to global financial and political elites. Speculation on social platforms like X has suggested ties to controversial figures or undisclosed influence peddling, such as contracts awarded to Eurasia Group by the Canadian government, but these claims lack substantiated evidence beyond anecdotal posts. What's clear is that Diana Fox Carney's connections span climate policy, finance, politics, and British society, reflecting both her own career and her marriage to Mark Carney. So she's an eco-warrior, net zero, ties to the British elite. There's nothing good about that woman, but Mark sees a lot of good in her. Is he using her? Or they're just two peas in the same pod, happily going around being destroyers? We're in big trouble. Now, to think that they scrubbed Mark Carney's information off of AI, you got to give them credit. It could just be from Canada. I've got to have to check and see if I can get on through a VPN. So, yeah, this ain't good. So I played around with the AI, and I did, what else did I put on there? Make sure I don't lose anybody. Go here. I'm going to try something else. I'll show you how AI can be deceptive. And So what I did, I just typed in, and I asked, okay, this is a little different than the one I got previous. So what I did, I typed in, is CO2 a pollutant? It's, when I typed it in before, I said, is it pollution? And it said yes. Okay, this is a little different. It says the question of whether CO2 is a pollutant is complex, but here's a breakdown. This is a scientific perspective, folks. CO2 is a natural component of the Earth's atmosphere and is essential for life. This is weird because this is a different answer. However, when its concentration increases significantly due to human activities, I'd argue that, it disrupts the Earth's energy balance, leading to climate change. This disruption, with its harmful effects on ecosystems and human societies, justifies considering CO2 as a pollutant. Specifically, the excess of CO2 acts as a pollutant by changing the composition of the atmosphere and by causing ocean acidification. Then they go on into the legal and regulatory perspective. Key considerations, it's not the CO2 itself, but the excessive amounts being released by human activity. This is what they're going by, or they're going to use this, right? So, this is on Gemini. I'm going to ask another question here. I'm going to say, is the world overpopulated? And see what they say about that. Arguments for overpopulation. A major concern is that the Earth's resources, such as fresh water, arable land, and minerals, are being consumed at an unsustainable rate. The current level of consumption, particularly in developed nations, oh yeah, that's us, places a heavy burden on the planet's ability to regenerate. The impact is increased population contributes to environmental problems like climate change, deforestation, and pollution. More people generally mean a larger carbon footprint and greater strain on ecosystems. Concept of carrying capacity refers to the maximum population size that an environment can sustain indefinitely. Some argue that we have exceeded or are nearing the Earth's carrying capacity. They say many argue the problem is not simply the number of people, but the unequal distribution of resources. Overconsumption as wealthy nations play a significant role in environmental degradation. Technological innovations in areas like agriculture and renewable energy could potentially increase the Earth's carrying capacity. Global fertility rates are generally declining. It's expected to slow down. Growth is. Many believe the focus should be on promoting sustainable practices and responsible consumption. You see where they're heading with this, right? Large focus on sustainable practices and changes in consumption. Therefore, whether the world is overpopulated is a matter of ongoing debate with valid arguments on both sides. Well, Sharp, I can use another one because I do have another AI here. I got two on the go right now, and this is Grok. I'll ask Grok a question like, should the I just put, should the population on Earth be decreased? So I got a pretty big answer here. Well, not real huge, but it says that's a big question, and it's one people have wrestled with from all sorts of angles: ethics, ecology, economics, you name it. There's no simple answer, but let's break it down a bit. On one side, some argue the Earth's population, sitting at about 8 billion now, puts too much strain on resources. They point to climate change, deforestation, and food security issues, saying fewer people could mean less pressure on the planet. Thinkers like Paul Ehrlich, with his population bomb idea, have long warned that unchecked growth could lead to collapse. Data backs this up to a point. The UN estimates will hit 10 billion by 2050, and global resource use like water and arable land is already stretched thin in many regions. On the flip side, others say population isn't the root problem, it's how we live. Wealthy nations consume way more per person than poorer ones. The US, for example, has a carbon footprint per capita about 15 times higher than India's. Tech optimists argue innovation, think renewable energy or lab-grown food, can handle a bigger population sustainably. Plus, shrinking populations like in Japan or parts of Europe bring their own headaches, aging workforces, stagnating economies. Elon Musk's been vocal about this, warning that declining birth rates could crash civilization if we're not careful. Ethically, it's a minefield. Who decides who gets to exist? Forced reduction, say through policy or worse, has a dark history. And voluntary pushes like education and birth control still spark cultural and religious pushback. Most demographers agree that the growth rate's already slowing naturally as education and urbanization spread. Global fertilities dropped from 5 kids per woman in the 1960s to about 2.4 today. So should it decrease? Depends on what you value. Planetary limits, human freedom, or betting on tech to save the day. What's your take and what's driving your question? What's driving my question? Okay, let's ask it. Will AI help reduce the number of humans on Earth? See what AI will say to that. Pretty short. AI's potential impact. Oh, here it goes. AI's potential impact on human population is a fascinating puzzle. Oh. It could cut both ways depending on how it's wielded and what we prioritize. On one hand, AI could indirectly shrink population numbers by accelerating trends already in play. It's supercharging automation, which might tank job markets, think manufacturing or trucking, pushing economic insecurity that often delays people having kids. Studies like Fry and Osborne's 2013 paper flagged that up to 47% of U.S. jobs could be automated, and we're seeing that ripple globally. Fewer jobs, less stability, lower birth rates. Look at how fertility's already dipping in places like South Korea, 0.78 kids per woman, where tech's omnipresent. AI could also amp up healthcare, extending lifespans, but not necessarily births, skewing us towards an older, smaller population over time. Add in climate solutions, AI-driven energy grids, or food tech, and it might ease resource pressure without needing more people. On the flip side, AI could boost population by making life easier to sustain. Precision agriculture could feed billions more, like how AI is already optimizing crop yields in places like India. Medical AI diagnosing diseases or tailoring treatments could slash mortality rates, especially in poorer regions, letting populations swell before they stabilize. And if AI sparks a prosperity boom, think universal basic income. Here we go. That's what Carney's talking about, universal basic income. People might feel secure enough to have bigger families. Historically, tech leaps like the Industrial Revolution juiced population growth by upper living standards. The wild card, intentional use, AI in the wrong hands could be a disaster, weaponized systems or mass surveillance controlling who lives or thrives. But short of sci-fi dystopia, its effects on numbers will likely hinge on mundane stuff: policy, culture, economics. No hard data says AI is destined to shrink us. Projections like the UN's 10 billion by 2050 don't bake in AI as a game changer yet. Will it reduce humans? Maybe. If it craters economies, or we lean hard into efficiency over growth, or maybe not if it unlocks abundance. What do you think? Where do you see AI taking us? So, you know, it's with this AI, it's very sketchy how you ask the question. You can ask your question one way, and then you just alter it just a bit, and you get an entirely different answer. And I asked them if the, that issue back in 2019 that came around, and they had these little things they wanted to put in you and shoot into you. I asked them if they were safe and effective. And it came right up, yes. They're very safe and very effective. And there's a whole bunch of talking points from the drug companies. So that kind of shocked me with all the information that's been coming out here lately, and especially in the U.S. at the not only the NIH but the FDA. So, like I say, this is pretty sketchy stuff. But when I seen Carney's wife, that was an eye-opener. But just as much an eye-opener as seeing that Con Man Carney's information had been scrubbed. So, the other thing, when you think back, when Trudeau said that he was going to resign, rather, that was just a couple of weeks before the inauguration of Trump in the U.S. Trudeau's scared of Trump. He's a coward. He ran. He panicked. He put Carney in there as a hitman to take over. Trump will see through Carney. Problem is the damage Carney's going to do to us. Yeah. It's now Kash Patel has just been sworn in as the head of the FBI. We want to see that. The flight information, I forget what it's called right now, right off the top, to Epstein Island and see who's on there. I think they're worried about it. They're saying there might be 50 Liberal MPs now that are jumping ship. They're not all because of that. But I'm just kind of wondering if Justin's on there, and maybe Carney and his wife. Don't know about Sophie. She bailed after a few years, but she was in there long enough. There's something going on. So, Trudeau's giving money away to a lot of countries run by dictators right now. Maybe he's thinking that he might have to go to one of those countries run by a dictator to save his skin. You never know, right? So, yeah, we'll see. But how much has been scrubbed on those documents? How many names have been scrubbed off? Now, Carney, you know, the pictures of him with Giswell, Maxine Giswell there, and Prince Andrew, that's kind of telling. He's hanging around with the right crowd to be on the list. So we'll see how it goes, but it would be sweet if a whole bunch of those names come out. Ghislaine Maxwell, yeah. It's just hard to keep up. There's so much stuff going on. So, and this AI, you can get lost on that. Mr. Magoo, Zelensky and Trudeau can share an apartment. Yeah. Well, silver bracelets look good on them as they're being hauled away. Some anklets. Murray. When is someone going to bring it up? Hopefully soon. Hopefully right away. It seems like they're not wasting any time in the U.S. Trump and all his new appointments there. I like how Elon Musk sent emails out to the federal workers saying, you got till Monday to show proof of what you did for work last week. 5 bullet points would do. Only take a few minutes to put it together. And they're all freaking out. Some of them are saying, well, we don't live there anymore. So they've moved away, but sitting home and collecting paychecks. And they're not going to have a job. And that's good. Who knows what we've got going on here the same way, because when that phony stuff came through there and they had people locked down, well, there's a lot of people still complaining about having to go to work 2 or 3 days a week. At least you know they're still in the area. So, what else are orange jumpsuits, liquid gal, yeah. Elon and Trump going to Fort Knox, that's going to be great when they open those doors. Everybody's anticipating. Myself, I thought they were emptied that out a long time ago. All those flights coming into the U.S. from London, though, full of gold, eh? Where's that all going? Is that being brought in into Fort Knox, or maybe trying to load some back up again? Macron's visiting Trump this week. I'm sure Trump is thrilled. Emma Macron's wife is in her 80s. How does she keep up, if at all? Is it a she? Are you sure? There's rumors about that, too. You don't know about these people. They're pretty weird. It's a weird club, and fortunately, we're not in it. Now, I see Zelensky came around finally with Trump and said, oh yeah, well, okay, yeah, we'll pay back, with minerals, and, seems they can't account for half the weapons and probably over half the money. So, I'm afraid no gold in Fort Knox. No gold in Canada. We know that. It's funny that nobody in Parliament, Pierre's never talked about that either, that we don't have any gold. I think there's only 5 countries basically that don't have any gold reserves, and the rest of them are all just little backwater tin pot countries, and Canada's right in there with them. So dollar ain't worth a damn. I watched an economist and he said he figured the Canadian dollar is going to be tanked down around 60 to 61 cents. So that's going to drive the price of everything through the roof. You think Amazon's cheap to shop on? It won't be anymore. So I laughed. I seen a comment online. I had to reply. Somebody said, well, we'll just trade with Europe and other countries instead of the United States. We don't need the US dollar. We'll use the Canadian dollar. Well, I said, yeah, come on. Do you think anybody's going to actually accept the Canadian dollar? I don't think even the poorest countries out there. I mean, okay, Trudeau's going around giving away millions of dollars. But in reality, when you convert it, it's about 30 to 40% less. It's still costing us, it's still costing us the same. But yeah. Emma, will Trudeau rescue Macron and the Palestinians? That's my big worry. Yeah, now, I had talking to my old buddy again. He said he's very concerned about World War III. I'm more concerned about being in a third world country with a dictator. So we won't have any money to do anything with. Once you behind enemy lines, you can't, you're done. You're at the mercy of UBI. So he's just cleaning that money. Oh, don't worry. I agree with you 100%, and I'm sure he's getting the kickback there somewheres. He'll be going around. Remember when he first came in? I was screaming, get the checkbook away, take it away. He was just flying around the world giving away money. Every little country, everywhere he could get to, he was giving away millions and millions of dollars. And then he did it again when he was trying to get a seat on the UN Security Council. And he flew around, and everybody was taking these hundreds of millions of dollars, and nobody voted for him because they don't want to see him in there. So, John Renault, how much is a dozen eggs in Canada? Well, at Costco, I think it's around, for 18 eggs, I think it's around $6, six and change, eh? Maybe $6.80 or, I don't know, something like that, eh? I really don't keep track that much. But that's 18, that's Canadian dollars, so that would be probably around $5 for 18 US money. And Faye knows, large is $3.49, so that'd be around $2.75 or US, Faye, at $3.49 Canadian. Yeah, around $2.75 US. So, Bug Katie, organic, $8 out there in the Kootenays. Yeah. $10 for 30 medium, or $11.99 for large there. Well, it's not the price of eggs, it's the price of gas for me to get there to get them. I put 3/4 of a tank. I had over just around 1/4 of a tank in the truck. Maybe the width of the needle over 1/4, and it cost me $186 for 3/4 of a tank of gas. So, sun. Yeah. So I figured I better pick up a couple of things at the grocery store while I'm at the pumps. Make the trip pay. $186 in April 1st, the carbon tax goes up again. So we're getting hosed big time here. It's $1.60 a liter. That's at Costco. That's the cheapest price pretty much around. So what's that, roughly $8 a gallon? It's insane. $79 terra firma, $1.80 for clear diesel, Eastern Ontario. Yeah, diesel used to be cheaper than gas, and then they decided to change that around because, hell, all those delivery trucks use diesel. We got to get the price up somehow, so we'll just make that more expensive. And then they got to use that purple stuff in there too. Add that to the diesel. Liquid gal, $1.98 in a liter in Vancouver, where you are. Has it stopped shaking out there in Vancouver? I heard you guys got a little rattle going on there, a little shaking in the ground. Was it a 4.7? That must have freaked a few people out, wondering if it was the big one or not. Don't forget egg farmers or quota farmers, yeah. Yeah, you felt it, eh? When I was out there, I always thought, oh, when I was in one of the tunnels, I thought, please, not now. I hate to be stuck in a tunnel under the ocean. And the bridges, they're big bridges. I can imagine that Fraser, that one over the Fraser suspension bridge or cable suspension bridge. I imagine that thing dancing around being on it. No, thank you. And the old Patola Bridge, you probably just, I'm surprised that even took it. If it's still there, I don't know. Yeah, the Alex Fraser Bridge is the suspension bridge. Don't miss it. So, yeah, everything's going up in price. It's going to go up a lot more once Carney gets in. You watch. When I seen the information on Carney, he was talking about the fake meat, the UBI. He's lying when he says he's going to get rid of the carbon tax. You know that. You're paying attention. You guys are all paying attention. But, yeah, he starts on that fake meat routine speech, and then like I say, the tax on the corporations and tax or carbon tariffs on stuff coming into the country. The guy's a nutcase. He is going right along with it because you just seen his wife's bio there, right? And she's in right up to her neck in this carbon crap, and he's going to stick right along with her. He's not going to change. He's so liquid gal. They're all cable. No Patola Bridge will be removed this year. It's about time. I knocked out 6 feet of railing on that bridge. I hit diesel spill and lost control in the car and went up over the sidewalk, and the back of the car went out through the railing and knocked a whole bunch of, well, it was 8 feet of railing is what I knocked out. That was an awful feeling. Yeah, terra firma. No competition is big. Wrong, yeah. Price is set by a marketing board. High cost of production because of inefficiencies, to name a few. Well, the other thing about Mark Carney, like I say, he was talking about the lab-grown meat because he wants to get rid of the cattle. right? It all comes back to the net zero. Net zero means no human life and no animal life. It's the only way they can get net zero. So when they start preaching that, that's scary. He's in big trouble. He's not in yet, but it's almost a given, right? Now they're going to have their debate Monday and Tuesday. I guess one will be French and one English. I don't know which is which. But anyways, there's not much there. Not much there. You got Freeland, Carney, and Gould. There's a couple other stragglers in there. So yeah. Well, I will say that I watched the Canada-U.S. hockey game the other night, and it was very nice to see that they actually played hockey. So that was good to see. That one in Montreal was a disgrace to Canada. Fred, if Carney gets in, then what? Will it be just short term or long term? I don't think he'll call an election. Singh is going to support him. Singh, the NDP are down to 14%. Some polls say 11%. Singh's going to hang right in there with Carney. Guaranteed. I would be gobsmacked and shocked completely if Singh agreed to a confidence vote. I just can't see that happening. Liquid Gal, PPC and Bernier not doing good. They need people for 190 ridings. Ouch, yeah. No, that's, I don't know. Now, talking to Buddy again that I mentioned here last week, and he said this was a guy that just couldn't mention the word Trump. He'd just freak out. He'd start shaking and thought Carney was the answer for everything. And so we're sitting around the other day, and he said, "Oh, I know Carney. He pretty much destroyed England. You know, the UK when he was governor of the Bank of England." And so I don't know. Something's changed there. But I still don't like that Pierre. I don't trust him. I said, okay, but you trust Carney? No. Okay. He's in a bad spot. You know, I said, look, do you think I believe Pierre 100% what he's going to do? No. He's going to backpedal on a few things. They all do. There's not one politician out there that hasn't, made campaign promises that they haven't broken. I just hope he keeps more than he breaks. Trudeau didn't keep any, hardly. Legalized pot. Other than that, I don't think of any campaign promise that he really kept, because everything he did, he'd lied about. So he was a complete liar and a fraud. Carney's the same. So Liquid Gal, can't they hold off the election until 2026? Yeah, they can. They can, but there's still going to be a confidence vote. They have to have the confidence vote in March. Is it March 24th, I think it is? because it's financial and it has to be passed. Like Trudeau making this big announcement for that high-speed rail from Toronto to Quebec City. Well, he can announce it, which is not, it's not his place to do it, but that's never stopped him before. He thinks he's still king of the country. But nothing can be done, nothing can start, even on paper, until it's approved. Carney would approve it right away, I'm sure. So, and Singh would probably think it was a great deal too, because it's going to save the environment. So, it all depends on that confidence vote. If Singh backs the Liberals on that confidence motion, then you know we're in for it till, I'm thinking 2026, like I've been saying for a long time. And I hope I'm wrong. I hate being right on stuff like that. I really hope I'm wrong. Maria, yeah, you nailed it. SNC Lavalin is benefiting from the train deal. Yep, they're right back in there. I think they're under a different name in there, though, but yeah, you're right. It's funny how the people in Quebec don't complain about the high-speed rail coming through, but they won't let a pipeline through. They're both infrastructure. So how they're blocking the federal government on an infrastructure project like the pipeline, I don't have no idea how they get away with that. Liquid gal Sophie left Justin because she couldn't compete with RuPaul with all its dress-ups. I think she was tired of wearing a strap-on when he wanted to have sex. Marie, they changed their name, yeah. So, liquid gal, I don't trust any politician or political party. Only 10% of promises are kept. Unless they're the ones that we don't like. So, well, Trudeau managed to please 30% of the population because that's what voted for him. They got him in for his minorities twice, and Singh kept him in. And the Bloc kept him in too there a bit. So they probably will again. It's disgusting. I'm ashamed of the country. Oh, one thing I did like that Pierre had brought up, he said that he's going to give more funding to the cadet program, and the cadets could do an excursion or whatever up into the Arctic with the Rangers, so they could experience the well, the culture and the what's going on up there, you know. So, and I thought that was wonderful, but a great idea. So get those cadets, that cadet corps fired up across the country. I'm an old cadet from way back, and they want me to, I might have mentioned this before, I don't know if I did, but they want me to show up at the 333 Squadron here. It's the Air Cadets. There's a public day, open day or something for the public, and they got a picture on the wall from when I was in there, and I'm in that picture, so I'm going to show up to see the new cadets, the Air Cadets, and see what it looks like, and be interesting. So I'm looking forward to it, actually. I have to get a haircut. Trust a banker, right? Emma, you used to be a brownie. Well, that's cute. The sister's still taken by, imagine that, eh, Emma? Wow, unreal. 2951 CFS Latrim signals. Right on. Well, we got 2 brownies in here. But I hope the cadets have not become woke. Well, I'm afraid that, yeah, I think they might have. So, yeah, unfortunately, well, I'll find out. I hope not. But since the military did, why wouldn't the cadet squadrons? Oh. Brownies started taking boys way back in the late 90s. Wow. Well, that's probably about the time that the scouts started taking the girls. That would change the camp out a lot for the scouts, wouldn't it? Yeah. No, she's messed up. We got to get back to the 2 genders, for one thing. Pierre said he's going to do that. He says 2 genders. Same with Trump, 2 genders. Now, what was I going to say there about Buddy? Something about genders. Anyways, I told him that too. I said, you know, Pierre says there's only 2 genders, so you gotta like that. And he said, well, yeah. Oh, he said, yeah, but he's just a Trump wannabe, because he says the same thing Trump says. I said, oh, you've seen that little clip, did you, of Pierre and Trump saying the same thing? And he said, yeah. He said, see, they're just the same. I said, well, what about, well, let's look at Malay, Argentina. Let's look at any other country that's not hard left, that has a level-headed leader or opposition. They all say the same thing because they're just words, right? So what are you supposed to do? Just make up new words? That's what the liberals do. So that's why they all say the same thing, because that's the way life should be. And he said, well, yeah. I think I'm cracking the shell a little bit, and not meaning to. It's just that liberal talking points are not too hard to actually put down or expose or whatever, because that's all they are, is talking points that if you stop and think, they don't make sense. If you don't think, anything makes sense. Military put a call out worldwide that you can get permanent residence if you join Canada's military. I think I've seen that. I'm not sure, but it sounds familiar. That's an awful thing. You don't know who you're going to get. Well, yeah, well, actually, maybe we do know who we're going to get. We'll get the people that, instead of fighting them over in their country, they'll just slide into the ranks here. That's the liberal way of thinking. So, Denny, what's your view about Canada becoming the 51st state? I don't like that. I think we should be 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, right? There's 10 provinces, 3 territories now, not just one. If we're going to be stuck with people like Trudeau and Carney, hell yeah. If we can't get them out, you bet. We got to do something. You know? I mean, are we supposed to stay under communist rule? I don't think so. They're pushing the gun grab again, big time, pushing that out because they're scared to death. Trudeau's got a bigger security detail, I think, than Trump, or as big. No other prime minister had to have that. He doesn't need it either. So, but it's his ego. It makes him look important. In his own mind, he's important. And I thought the other day, I'm thinking, you know, you take somebody as egotistical and narcissistic as Trudeau, and he's been called the most hated prime minister in Canada ever. Well, I don't think he wants to leave having that name, that handle, that following him around as the most hated prime minister in Canada. So why not put Mark Carney in there? Because he'll be the most hated prime minister in Canada, and everybody will forget about Trudeau, and they'll say, gee, Trudeau wasn't that bad. Look what Carney's doing. Just throwing that out there, right? He's pretty slippery. And he'd do anything to try to shake that on the way out. Let's see. What else we got? You know, well, one thing about that Canadian-U.S. issue, I would say that conservative Canadians have a lot in common with Republican Americans. And when you look at Democrats and liberals, man, they're like Siamese twins. So, yeah. I haven't been down to the U.S. for many years now. I don't travel much anymore at all. Wouldn't even let us. They're not going to let us either. Carney gets in, you won't be traveling. There are going to be restrictions on travel because of climate. Could be lockdowns, climate lockdowns. Betty Power, hi Betty. Why do the Canadian people put up with the Liberals? I have no idea. I ask myself that question every now and then. What's going on with their minds? You see the latest polls? I don't really trust them, but I think they're rigged like the election's going to be. But now looks like they got conservatives in minority government territory and the Liberals coming up strong behind them. I don't know about that, but so, I mean, there's got to be, something's got to come out on Carney. I don't know why people want the DEI. They're okay with that. They're okay with the multiple alphabet group. They're okay with destroying the history of the country and weak military and flooding the country with immigrants that don't like us. They're okay with all of that for some reason because, well, they're better than those conservatives. I'm thinking, what a warped mind. Maybe it's some, I don't know. Maybe those liberal pokes had something to do with it. Or maybe it's something they're spraying on us. I don't know what it is, but I'm telling you, they are messed up people. They just think, no, anything but a conservative. Who wants to travel when they put facial recognition to cross back to Canada? I never even thought of that. Yeah, But they don't use it on the illegals walking across the border at Roxham Road. I'm going to have to check those numbers again, too, coming in, see how many are walking through now, because the U.S. just said they're going to start flying people to prisons, Brazil and Guantanamo and other places. So they better self-deport. Well, okay, where are they going to self-deport to rather than going back to their home country? Why not just head north to Canada? Everything's pretty good up there. It's cold, but we still get all the free stuff. We get a place to stay, and we get money, and we don't have to work. Get health care. Get in front of the line for health care. So all these special rights. The other thing I think Mark Carney will do, he'll take that motion M103 and he'll make it into a bill and pass it so that he can censor us and shut us up and lock us up if we say anything about the peaceful religion. Emma, biblical too, deception will increase. Yeah, and people will be blind to it. So, but I can see M103 being an issue. The other thing Pierre said he would do, he'd get rid of the phobia minister for the peaceful religion. So, who is a racist and a bigot and a, you know what. So we got a lot of things that have to be changed. That, it's easy to forget about some of the stuff that Trudeau did when he was in, because he was in so long and he did so many things that it was hard to keep up, because every day it seemed there was something else. So, I mean, look what Trump's got on his plate down in the U.S. And Biden was only in there 4 years. Almost 10 years, or over 9 years now. So, right? Like I say, it's easy to forget the stuff he did and who he put in. A person should have to be born in the country before they can be elected as a member of parliament. You should have to live in the country before you can be prime minister. It's a 183-day rule, and Carney, I don't think, has been in Canada for 183 days. I think he's been living in the U.S. So right now, even that is illegal. But that doesn't seem to bother the Liberals or the media or Elections Canada. They just, oops, well, no, it's different. It's Carney, it's Mark Carney. He's got 3 passports, so, let's put him in. Yeah. Denny Ringus, free tents, yeah. Yeah, it's, folks, she's looking pretty grim here. Just wondering what's going on here. A little note here from Heather. I don't know what's going on there. Oh, Heather can't get in with the link. I don't know why. Did everybody else get in with the link I sent? Or anybody else get in with the link I sent out in the email? Or did you just get in by going to the channel? So, I don't know. And Lawrence Buckley. And did anybody else get a message that you have to download a security system? Oh, there's Heather there. You couldn't get in. Lawrence Buckley says it's requesting that we download his security system. I have no intention of doing. Has anybody else gotten the same message? I think what I'm going to do, this was a little different setup. And, okay, a lot of people didn't use the link. I'm not going to use this setup next week. I'm going to change it back to where I'm not running this. What I'm doing is, rather than going through just my streaming software onto YouTube, I'm running YouTube through the streaming software. So I'm not going to do that because I just thought I'd try it. So message come up saying the site was not secure. See, that's why, because the YouTube, I'm not streaming through YouTube. I'm streaming directly from software onto YouTube, I guess is one way to explain it, I guess. So what I'll do is next week I won't do that, and then the links will work and everybody can get on, and we won't get caught up with that. So don't ask me why I did it this way. It's just they recommended it. Isn't that funny? YouTube recommends that I do it this way, and then people have trouble. Maybe I said Trudeau too many times, so they tried to send me over to something else. I don't know. Bog Katie came on through the YouTube notification. Okay, not on your email list. Did try to sign up years ago. Oh. There's Catherine, showed to download security. Yeah, that's weird. I'm not going through them again. Call them something else. I've called them a lot of different things, Emma. A lot of different things, but not on here. Okay, glad you're making it longer tonight. Yes, Lorette. When I do the premieres, if they're half an hour or so long, it takes about 6-8 hours to put one together. Eh? So, like that's why they did it. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, YouTube. Look, all this streaming or all these platforms, rather. I'm telling you, Rumble was so hard to work on. Just, I don't know. It was just stubborn, and even just to make a thumbnail was crazy. And you've been discovered. So yeah, I'm not in it for the money. I mean, I don't make any anyways. And when I was doing a lot of videos there, I had some income coming in, but Joe Biden got elected, and he said that I had to pay taxes in U.S., income tax and income tax in Canada, and I thought, well, I'll be paying more tax than I make. So I just demonetized everything. Rumble, I demonetized it, but they ran ads anyways. I think I've got in the bank with Rumble, I think I've made maybe 65 cents. So, probably why a lot of people don't use Rumble. It's kind of crazy. I mean, they're trying to get people to change over there, but they don't want to. The people that are in it for the cash, they're on YouTube. So, have I tried Entropy? No, I haven't. But that's another obsolete platform, right? There's so many of them. Like I tried Odyssey before and BitChute and all that. It's just YouTube's the old standby, but you still gotta be careful. I mean, they'll hammer you. The hammer will come down for one wrong word. That last premiere I put up, there were children in it, the slave labor, and in the Congo, and I had to put on there not for kids. The children appear in the video, 18 plus, over 18 years of age, all kinds of stuff on there, just so I wouldn't get a strike, eh? And that video that I took the clip from was off of YouTube, but it don't matter. You can take a clip off of YouTube and use it as free use, and they'll hit you with it for a strike. But it's already been okayed. You know, it's weird. So it's like a cat and mouse game, right? Or whack-a-mole or something. It's just, it's the algorithms, so they say. Apparently Entropy was owned by Canadians. Was owned by Canadians? They get bought out or shut down. Let's see. Yeah. Well, this week, like I say, I'm going to watch that liberal debate just out of curiosity. I mean, I think it's going to be boring as hell. I don't think there's anybody on there that has an original idea, or at least an original idea that they're willing to put out to the public. They probably won't say much about much of anything, because what they got planned, they probably don't want the people to know. It's probably going to be a lot of PR bashing. We won't do this, or we're not like that, or this is how we're going to deal with the United States with President Trump. Well, they don't call him President Trump, they call him Trump, right? Of course, I call Trudeau Trudeau. He's not my prime minister. He's a scumbag. That was, I'll never forget what's his name. Yeah. Anyways, he was with World Alternative Media. And this one, Trudeau first went in. I think I've told this story before. And there's a town hall, and he goes up, he stands in line to go up. So people were shaking Trudeau's hand, getting their picture taken, right? And he finally get up there, and he says, "You're nothing but a scumbag." And he was escorted out right away. I think he was about the first one that got kicked out of a Trudeau meet and greet. So, yeah, his name would come to me, but good guy. And then he moved to Mexico. Last I seen him, he was living down in Acapulco. So, sure, Betty, you can't watch anything with liberals or Democrats. You'll throw up. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Ruby Della has filed an appeal to the Liberal Party. She wants her money back, too, the money that the people put into her campaign. They took that right away on her, $350 grand. What a dirty trick, eh? There's nothing too low for the Liberals. They're so used to stealing money, they steal from each other, eh? Carney already said he was going to double the carbon tax. Oh, yeah. Okay, I never quite caught that myself, but I believe you 100%. Wow. We're done. He's just finishing off the economy now, but not only just finishing the economy, he's going to bring in the regulations for travel restrictions, for food prices, or not prices, more like food control. Remember, they wanted to cut back on the fertilizer, the nitrogen fertilizer for the farmers. And that kind of, went quiet. You watch Carney bring that back right away. So, yeah, they'll start cutting back on this and cut back on the food production. What happens when food gets scarce? It goes up in price. What happens when you double the carbon tax? Food goes up in price. What happens when people get hungry? They get pretty nasty. So what do you got to do first? You better take those guns away from the people. You don't want them getting nasty with things that go bang. So you can see it all coming down. This is communism 101. Trudeau set it up. Carney's coming in now to bring the hammer down, folks. Don't worry, he'll nail the businesses, yeah. That's right, terra firma. Communism 101. So, oh boy, it's going to be a rough ride. The dollar ain't worth crap, and it's going to get worse. The price of gas will, they said the gasoline-powered engines won't be running. People won't be able to afford to drive them. They're going to break us so we can't drive them. So, and it'll be God's judgment on Canada. Well, no wonder. We got tranny shows for the kids in kindergarten and grade 1 and 2 at the libraries. In the schools, they're teaching it. They're forced, from what I've heard, to sit there and listen to it. They can't opt out. They have to sit there through the brainwashing, right? Repeat after me. I'm sure the teachers now are just basically repeat after me. Watch this. Let's discuss it. So, Denny Ringus, you got a rest. Oh, I can't even imagine what's going to happen with my restaurant. Price controls will empty grocery store shelves and they won't get restocked, yeah. Marlene Nealon, welcome. Heard Walmart is planning on opening 34 stores here. Where that is, wherever that is. Whereabouts are you, Marlene? I did. Did you see the supposed pregnant guy in a school? I did. I seen that. Look, I don't know. I just don't know. I'm speechless. Gotta get these unqualified Indian truckers off the roads. It's a demolition derby out there. Yeah, I know. I seen some bad scenes there. I traveled across Canada a lot, and I noticed they were more and more and more and more. So, my son's shop just hired a trans welder. Well, there. Pity the poor fitter that's got to work with them, or her, or whatever. PV are closing across Canada. I'm not familiar with them. I've never seen them on the East Coast. Must be Ontario West or something. I've never seen them in BC either. Maybe it's mainly Ontario. We're pretty slow here. Oh, they just changed the regulations in the city here. Or they're changing them, the mayor. So now anybody with a building lot in the city, well, not a lot, just a residential lot in the city, they can put up 4 on their lot, 4 structures, 4 buildings that will house, I don't know, 4 people each or something like that. I haven't read the whole thing, but I've seen it, and it's in council now. It's past the first reading or something. So they're going to turn the downtown core into a slum. Because you know what happens. Anybody in big cities knows exactly what happens. East Indians are going to come in. Pakis are going to come in. Oops. Pakistanis are going to come in. So I remember George Bush saying Pakis, and they said, Well, that's a racist word. They say, oh, I didn't know that. It's, you can call an Afghanistan person an Afghani, or you can Uzbekistan and Uzbeki, but you can't call a Pakistani person a Paki. But anyways, you know what I mean. They're going to be building the homes, and they're going to be filling them up, and it won't be 4 people in it. It'll be a dozen, and it's just going to be one big crap show, and it's going to be a slum. Of course, the bleeding heart liberals think, oh, that's great. That's going to solve the housing problem. What's it going to do for traffic when you get 17 Uber drivers coming out of there, out of one lot? Yeah. Terra firma. The latest trend is truck on cruise control, sitting cross-legged on the seat, praying. You're Inuit, you've been called slurs. I have a thick skin as a result. I've been called names too, mainly by white people. The good old days when we had jokes and had a good time and everybody pretty much got along. We all kind of looked out for each other. Those are over. North Brampton, 450 acres being built, called Banglatown. There is a Banglatown in Detroit and in England. Wow. Well, that's nice. What are they going to do for water treatment? Look, they don't do anything with the services or the infrastructure. It's, we got a woke mayor, and she's huge on Pride Month and the woke culture and the trans thing, and it's a mess. They call it stupid because I'm a natural blonde. It must have been rough with all those blonde jokes. Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens this week with the Liberal Party and their little debate. How do they debate when they all have the same platform? This should be interesting. I can just imagine. I don't know if I'll make it through listening to Freeland and Gould. I wanted to see Carney screw up, but Karina Gould and Chrystia Freeland, that's going to be torture. So, anyways, you made it through. You made it through to the end here. Some of you did. Next week, going to do a different setup. Odds are it's probably going to be a live stream. So I might mix them up some weeks. If I got something to do on a Sunday, maybe through the week, I'll put something together. But things are going so fast, and all the channels, they're all right on top of it, right? So you get on, start looking around, and you got your favorite channels that you follow there through the week, and they're on top of their game, and there's a lot of stuff coming out, but the problem is, we see it, but the people on the other side don't see it because they don't even know a lot of these channels exist, and if they did, they wouldn't look at them anyways. So we're all preaching to the choir pretty much. I don't know how many eyes we're opening, but it's always worth a try to see if we can get, if you can get one person to wake up, then maybe they can talk to one of their friends. So it might slowly, but we don't have a lot of time. This is going to hit us, well, sorry. I say we don't have a lot of time, but then again, I say we're not getting an election until 2026. So I hate to leave on that note, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to. Folks, thanks a lot for joining in. It's good to see everybody here. And let's have a good week out there. Spring's on the way. You know, we're tough. We're Canadians. We're going to hang in there, and maybe we might get some help from south of the border. Lynn put in a good word for us with the big fellow there in the White House. Tell him we need help. Bye for now, folks. God bless. Take care, everyone.